Well, I don't know how many people we're going to be expecting later, but I would like to get started here in just another minute or so. Hoping a few more people come trickling in. I think we may outnumber you tonight. I don't know. I will say that for some of you who may be here on Thursday, we just about packed this out on Thursday because we bring K-5 all the way through 12th grade in at one night. And so we have hardly a seat left. I feel like it's a little overkill to stand back here, but I am making a recording of this evening, so I do need to be behind a microphone, so excuse me for that. I don't want to seem distant from you here. The teacher in me wants to get and walk around and all that, but I will stay back here for the sake of the recording. For anybody who is not able and would like to pick up the recording, we will send it to them. For the few of you that I haven't met, my name is Brian Fry. I am the school administrator here at Latham Christian Academy. I've been here since 2010, and it is my privilege to work here with this staff and with each of the students that God has blessed us with. I would like to go ahead and just start with prayer together and just dedicate this time to the Lord. So let's pray. Our dear Lord, thank you so much for your rich blessings upon each of the families here that are represented. Lord, thank you for the children you've blessed us with, and Lord, for the responsibility that is. Lord, we ask that you would help us as we prepare for the coming school year. Give us wisdom, give us insight, and Lord, I pray that it be an excellent year ahead. We ask for your safety, your physical protection with all of the activities that will take place throughout the year. And Lord, we ask for your spiritual blessings most of all. Lord, that we would see boys and girls and even moms and dads and brothers and sisters know you better as a result of the year and the time we have together. Lord, be honored in our evening now, we pray. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. I think most of you have probably met or at least would know by face your child's teacher, but I would like to introduce just each of our staff members who are here with us this evening so that you can kind of get to know the ones that may not work directly with your children, but you may hear from a little bit. First of all, if I can ask Mrs. Sandy Haddon to stand, there she is. She is our aide in the K-3 program. She helps out Mrs. Mansfield there. And she works a lot with, in that first extended session, a little bit with the kids as well. So if they stay through lunchtime, they may see her a little bit there. Then we have Mrs. Deb Rourke. If Mrs. Rourke would stand. I appreciate Mrs. Rourke. She works in the extended session program as well, and also a little bit with PE for the 4 and 5-year-olds. She works with PE classes for them. And then Mrs. Mansfield. Mrs. Mansfield is our 3-year-old teacher for our K-3. She's the lead teacher there. And we are excited to have her this year as well. She also works with some of the high school kids, but I don't think that affects any of you all in here as I look around the room. She has a unique position that she teaches our youngest and our oldest students. She has the 3-year-olds in the morning and the 12th graders in the middle of the afternoon. So that is a special talent it takes to do that, definitely. And then I'll introduce you to my wife, Mrs. Dee Fry. Where'd she go? There she is. She is one of our K-4 teachers here as well. Starting her 2nd year here at our school, and taught 5 years at another school. And then Mrs. Jennifer Greaves, she would stand. Mrs. Greaves is our other K-4 teacher. Are you always the other K-4 teacher? Is that how you get introduced? I should reverse the order one of these years. But Mrs. Greaves teaches K-4 here as well. And I should have looked before I came up, but this has to be 11, 12 years you've been teaching here? Okay, 12 years she's been teaching, so it brings a lot of experience to our program as well. Not able to be with us this evening, though, is a very important part of our team, and that's Mrs. Betty Mean. Many of you have already met with Mrs. Mean somewhere along the way. She is our assistant administrator and oversees directly the kindergarten programs here. She is bringing her youngest child off to college, so she is headed down to Florida today, and so we appreciate her. She is a real blessing, and she is such a contact person. If you need advice on almost anything, you certainly can contact her. We want her to be here for that. Also tonight, we kind of had a little bit of a hybrid program, as I said in the email I sent you today. We have Mrs. Laura Coonrod, who is with us today, if she would stand. She is our 1st and 2nd grade teacher. She will be bringing her child to college in Florida in a couple of days. So she will not be here for Thursday's program. So we ask our 1st and 2nd grade parents to come to this evening's program as well. So we appreciate having Mrs. Coonrod with us tonight. You know, as we begin this evening, just to point out a couple of things to you, we have really been blessed this summer to get a lot of work done around the school. Probably the biggest project that we have, you cannot actually see from the front of the school though. We did a fundraiser last year, and just 2 simple parts of the fundraiser. The first part, we sold coupon books, where if you want to get coupons, you buy them. And secondly, we just sent a letter out saying, please help us if you can. Through that, we raised money to help build a new playground for our 3, 4, and 5-year-old students. It is kind of around the corner to the school. We'll have a fence that we put around it next week. It's not up yet. Everything else is done except for that fence. Brand new playground for the kids to play on. We're really excited about that. One really designed for the littlest ones. And so that should be a lot of fun for us. It's right outside their classrooms, actually. But if you ever want to take a look, you can just kind of walk around the side of the building and you'll be able to see that, or certainly from the window of the classrooms, you can see it as well. We've done lots of other work, new tile floor put down in the hallway outside the kindergarten classrooms. We have a brand new sound system here and in our gym. The parking lot was resealed and repainted. All of our floors we stripped, waxed. A lot of work went into that. And really, just a lot of small improvements around the building. We really want, and I hope those of you who were here last year will notice some of those things as you go around, some of the improvements around here. Now, as we begin some orientation together, the first thing to point out is the first day of school. First day of school is next Wednesday. That is September 7th. We start by 8:20. Just one note about the first day of school. We recognize, especially if your child has not been here at LCA before, it could be a traumatic day. And what I mean is traumatic for you, the parent, more than for the child. It is amazing how quickly children adjust and how long we as parents take to adjust sometimes. What we ask on this day, certainly bring your child down to the classroom, greet the teacher, make sure the child has everything. But the best thing you can do, my child's crying, whatever. The best thing you can do is leave your child. That sounds awful, but it really is the best thing you do. Your child's crying. We promise we will call you if the child keeps crying. But you know what happens? Have you done this before? Before you get to your car, your child has stopped. Made new friends faster than you or I could ever make friends. Your child has made a friend. And they're playing together, sharing toys, and having a great time. If there are any problems, we will call you. But we just ask, one of the hardest things for our teachers is when parents kind of hang around a lot and they're trying to get the children's attention and all that. So next Wednesday, come in, greet everybody, make sure they have everything they need. Then you can head to work, head back to home. We promise we'll call you if anything comes up, if there's any problems. Then starting on the second day of school, next Thursday, I should have brought up here, I forgot one of my visual aids to bring up, but we will put a stop sign up in front of the hallway at 8:20. If you come in later than 8:20, you have to, Mrs. Mean and I will be up there. You will drop your child off with one of us or with one of our other teachers. We will bring your child back to the classroom. Our school starts at 8:20, and I know it may seem strange with these very little ones, those of you who are here for the 3 and 4-year-old program especially, but it really is a school day. And really, we're starting things like attendance and lunch orders for kids that stay all day. We're starting those things at 8:20, a routine like a real Big Pin school would have. We're doing all of those things. And in many cases, by about 8:30, 8:35, they're actually starting to do work and assignments and lessons. And it's very disruptive when a parent comes in after that point. So when you see that big stop sign up, just wait by the stop sign. If Mrs. Mean or we may be taking another child down, just wait there. We will come back. You will not miss. It is a big stop sign. Like I said, I should have brought it up to show you. But just wait there, and we will help you get your child down at that point. We do ask that coming in the morning, you can bring your child as early as 7:30 if you have to, and that's fine. We will have supervision in the gym. But it's really best if you come after 8 o'clock. Because at 8 o'clock, our teachers open the doors to their classrooms. They'll be in there to greet your child. We have a meeting in the mornings, our teachers. We have a time of announcements and prayer together each morning. And so they may not even be available until about that time. So we ask, if possible, that you come between 8 and 8:20. Now, we understand if you have to, your work schedule demands you have to be here earlier. That's fine. You'll bring your child down to our gym. There'll be at least a teacher. I should look who the first teacher is that first week. Is it Mrs. Mansfield? We'll probably be right here in the hallway to greet you, and we'll direct you where you can bring your child down. That's between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. It's not a problem, but you won't see your child's teacher. You won't be able to bring your child to the classroom at that time. All right, a couple of other notes, and I apologize. Sometimes I tag team with Mrs. Mean a little bit. With Mrs. Mean out of town, some of you just came in late. She is actually bringing her daughter to college, so she is not here today. So I'm going through a lot of other announcements. A couple of things about kind of behind the scenes stuff. I hope all of you received an automated email about 3 or 4 weeks ago from the school about a system we use called Sycamore. Sycamore is our kind of an online resource that we provide that allows you to keep up with things going on at the school. Now, those of you who are here for first and second grade, this can be a tremendous resource with things like classroom assignments and grades. You can keep up with report cards, all of those things on it. For those of you here for the 3 and 4-year-old program, obviously you don't have some of those things for your child yet. That's coming in the future years, perhaps. But what we have for now are things like, most of our teachers put their snack calendar on there. You could certainly check school-wide events like hot lunch schedules, things like that will be on there. I'm trying to think, you could contact the teacher through there. You could check your financial statement through there. Once we do start sending report cards home, those are on there. You can get a PDF of them. I encourage you to explore that. They have a brand new app out, at least for iOS. I didn't check if it's available for Android, but it might be something worth looking at. Brand new, just came out this month. You can just search for Sycamore, and then you can go in and use that as well, and that may be a help for you in keeping up with things or on your computer. If you have any trouble with that, I'm the point person for that. Either email me, come and see me in the hallway, something like that. If you have any trouble getting into the Sycamore system, here's my guess. I have looked at your applications. There's an awful lot of you out there that list one form or another of IT work on your applications. I should probably be going to you for help on some of these things. I have a little bit of background in it, but we had a parent a couple of years ago, it was either a K4 or K5, I can't remember, who actually found a security hole in their system. I think they should have paid the person. They didn't do that. Like Google will pay you money if you find a security hole. They didn't pay them for it. They fixed it right away. They have a special number I can call if there's like an emergency thing. We called it. They got their programmers on it. They shut the whole system down for the day, for every school that they service for that day, and they got it fixed that day. And one of our parents found it. I was kind of proud about that we had one of our people found a security problem in their system a couple of years ago. But this is a tremendous tool. You will get emails. That's the way your emails, they essentially are coming through Sycamore. If, like the email many of you hopefully received this afternoon reminding you about tonight's meeting, if you change your email address or any other information, please let Mrs. Kettlewood know in our office. And you can always email us just at office@lcany.org. And that will make sure that information gets changed right away so you can continue to receive that information from us. Starting this month as well, starting September, we are no longer going to send a printed bill out for your statement unless you specifically request it from Mrs. Kettlewood. You'll get it by email. With the total will come by email with a note with how you can see the individual items if you have any questions. And that's all through your Sycamore login that we use. It's a tremendous tool. I hope you'll make use of it. If you have any questions, see me on that. One note about payments, they are due by the 10th of every month. We don't usually charge a late fee in August or September. We know everybody's getting used to it. But please, by October, just help us out. I joke about this. We are a nonprofit organization. We are run by Latha Bible Baptist Church here as a ministry for our community. We don't have like a huge amount of resources. We can do what we do when our families pay their statements and their bills on time. So we definitely appreciate your help on that. All right, one thing this is really important. So I did want to put this right at the beginning. I have a wonderful picture here. Those of you who've been here before have seen this picture. This is not, the problem is the screen is not the same shape as our parking lot, so you got to kind of use your imagination a little bit here. But I want to talk to you about the pattern you need to take when you come in the mornings because it's not real intuitive. All right, we're going to use the laser pointer for this one here. I'll get out all my tools as a teacher. All right, this is the entrance in here. Follow kind of that black line as you come in. You will turn left and go all the way to the furthest edge when you come in. This is really important because if you come in and try to come up this way, we try to keep all the traffic going out, going that way. You might face somebody head on. So you want to come around here, loop in, and then you can come back here if you're going to park. Now, we did make one change, and I had trouble doing this because there's more parking spaces than it looks like on this little diagram I had to do on PowerPoint. We allow parking in the middle here, but you'll see, we will have cones set up by next week. The cones mark the spots where we ask you not to park. Every year I have somebody park under the cones. The cones are there for, here, honestly, let me tell you why the cones are there. I block off 3 spots right here. We have buses come in, 64 passenger buses, If you park right here, it is almost impossible for them to make that turn. If you value your back bumper, you don't want to park there. All right, I'm just telling you. I have a bus license. I've driven a school bus before. That is a very difficult turn for them. We ask that no parking right here along the front for two reasons. One is when you back out, you're going to have people walking right behind you, and that can be very dangerous. Even with our rear view cameras, we have small children, all of those. We don't want you backing out. But the second reason we ask for no parking along here is our older children. Now, I know this won't be the case with you, but many of our families with older children can pull up along here and drop their children off. They'll let them out. They are not allowed to park here. We don't let them do that. But they can stop along there, let their children out along the cones, and then they can keep right on going without parking. Let me just ask two things that'll be a really, really big help for me in the parking lot. Our parking lot will be very full around arrivals. We recognize that. We just ask for your patience. We had an accident. It was fortunately not bad a year ago. About 4 years ago, we actually had someone on an icy day who got hit. Again, everybody was okay, but a person was hit about 4 years ago. Take your time. We ask for a 5-mile-an-hour speed limit. I know that is not fast, but it's on purpose. We want to keep you safe, your children safe, and everybody's children safe. And even along here, when you're going up and down that, I've been out there before, and I hear people just gun their engine when they get to our little access road. Please be careful there. We have neighbors that we want to keep them happy. But also, we have people that work out there on our property, mowing lawns, taking care of snow during the winter, all of these things. We don't want to risk any safety issues. Just keep it at 5 miles an hour. It'll take you a few seconds longer to get out of the parking lot, but everybody will be happy and hopefully safer that way. The second thing, what happens, like right where I have those words STU up there, sometimes there's a spot there. And what you'll see people try and do, they'll come in here and they'll come in and try and dart in like the second spot. And often there's still traffic coming the other way. I know you might be running late for work, but it just helps us all if you will come all the way around and then go, if you're parking on this side, just keep it all one way. And it really helps with the buses that we mark in purple. It'll really help keep them in. We have, I don't know how many this year, but usually 10 to 15 buses that come in every morning. So it really is a pretty steady stream right around the time you'll also be arriving. So we want to make it as easy for them as well. They take up a lot more room. That's why we block off a couple of spots where those letters NO are as well, because again, they have to make another sharp turn. So that's why we block off those spots. Let me tell you this, if you have any questions about the parking lot or you have a particularly bad experience, please come and see me. We're always trying to make it better. And if we can make improvements in it, we don't want this to be a point of frustration for anyone. I also ask this, please, if someone else who's not here tonight will be either bringing your children or picking them up, because this will be the same way at noon and at afternoon. Follow the same pattern. Please share this with that person who will be dropping off or picking up your child. All right, if you have questions later, see me, but I want to get off the parking lot and move on to other things. Oh, I have another slide here about extended session. Two important things about extended session. We close at 5:30. Mrs. Rourke is our one who stays till 5:30. Mrs. Rourke has a family to get home to at some point. She is so gracious in working until 5:30 and she's done that for several years now. I appreciate her greatly. I hope you do as well. And one way you can show that appreciation, we close at 5:30. Please don't be later than that. If you work a job where you might be close to that 5:30 time, have a friend, have an alternate person that you can call, because we really need to have you picked up. If you are later than 5:30, it is $1 a minute that we charge per child if you have more than one. We really need you here by 5:30. I don't want to charge you that money. We need to have your children picked up by 5:30. Have I said that enough yet? 5:30, they say in teaching, repetition is key. 5:30, 5:30. All right, we got it. I don't need to keep saying it. But that would be a huge help for us. The second thing, our school office closes about 3:45. That's when Mrs. Kettlewood leaves. If something comes up later than that, Mrs. Rourke and anyone else who's working in extended session will carry a school cell phone with them. This is the number for that. You may want to put this in your phone if you think your child will be here after 3:45. Now, it's very important. This is for emergency use only. We have a policy, like almost every other school does, that our teachers cannot talk on the cell phone when they're supervising students. Okay, we understand that. However, Mrs. Rourke will answer this if you call it. So please make sure this is for emergency use only. Something came up and you're going to be much later than you expect. Mrs. Rourke, they can text you on that too, right? It didn't? Okay, maybe not. I'll just call her on it. We'll take care of that. Let her know if you're going to be running late. Or again, this is kind of for emergency. Something comes up because the office does close at 3:45. If you call after 3:45, unless either Mrs. Mean or I pick up the phone, you probably won't get the school office. So you really need to get a hold of her. And this is not to ask a question about your bill. This is not to ask a question about what's happening at school the next day. One, Mrs. Rourke's probably not going to know those things. But again, her responsibility is to supervise the students at that point. But if you want to put this number in, this is a number for calling after that time. If there's something happens and you want to let her know you're going to be like a little late, something like that, you can communicate with that 591-9300 number. Okay? And we will give that out next week as well. So if you don't get it tonight or somebody's not here to get it, we'll send home a little sheet with that on it next week. All right. You should have all received a form that looks like, well, all of you in first and second grade, not first and second grade parents, but K3 and K4 parents, a sheet that looks like this, Statement of Understanding. If you have not yet signed it, we really need you to. You could do that tonight. In fact, actually, K4 teachers, I should get you a set of these if you don't have them. But if you haven't done this yet, there's several things. These were all things Mrs. Mean talked to you about at your interview originally, but we want to make sure we're all on the same page and there's no misunderstanding. It's a couple of things. Number one, that your child is completely potty trained. We can't wear pull-ups or anything like that. We just can't. We explain how that works in there. Secondly, your child has to be able to use the toilet completely unassisted. Again, we're not a daycare. We can't help with that. We're not that kind of an institution. We don't have that kind of staffing to be able to do that. Third, your child has to be able to eat completely unassisted. We don't allow our staff to help your child eat. Now, yes, we'll open a container. We get that. But like actually taking the fork, no, they have to be able to handle that themselves. You can't ask us to help with that. We can't do that. And then fourth is we already mentioned that we start at 8:20. And you're committing that aside from something unusual, you'll have your child here by 8:20 every day to avoid the disruption. So we just ask that you would sign this if you haven't already, and I'll get some more of those out for you. Next, there's a form that looks like this. I call this the grid form because there's so many boxes all over it. The teacher has this, will be the teacher who has your oldest child. So if you have more than one child here, I don't know if this is true of anybody in this room where your oldest child is one of the teachers who's not even here until Thursday night. But if that's true, somebody else may have your form. But the teacher of your oldest child will have this. This is something we print out every year. Please look through this, check all the information, check your email address, check the phone numbers. Every year we have families that give us like one phone number on the applications. Please we want to be able to get a hold of you if we need to. These are your children, help us out with that. But check everything on here. There's one other thing that's really important on this form, and that is where it says contacts. About a third of the way down, there's a list of contacts on here. That you can list anyone there who is authorized to pick your child up at the end of the school day. If a name is not on there, we are not going to let that person pick up your child. Does that make sense? Even if we think you all are best friends, we've seen you talking in the hallway together, we can't do that. We can only send your child home with the names that are listed under this contact section. So if you would fill any other names, all we really need is a name. If you want to put a phone number there as a second contact, if we can't get like you or your husband, you may certainly do that, but you at least need a name. And we will ask for photo ID for people that we don't know when they come to pick up your child, especially near the beginning of the years we're getting to know all of you. So just come prepared with some kind of a photo ID, driver's license, or something else that Mrs. Rourke or your child's teacher can look at. We want the right child to get to the right person every day. So that's really important to you. It's really important to us. So on this form, check the information, add any names. If there's any names you want to pick up your child, add the names there. Now, there's a section at the top that says, if you want your information shared or not. We do not share information by policy, no matter what that says on top. We're not going to give your phone number, your email address out at all. We don't do that as a school. So you don't have to worry at the top if something is marked or not. We don't do that. There's also a section for medical at the bottom. You don't have to complete that. We don't necessarily need that the way we're set up. In fact, this is mine. Mine's not even filled in down there under medical for my children. If your child has an allergy, and we don't just mean a sensitivity, but an allergy that might require medical attention, even if you already told Mrs. Mean about it, please let your child's teacher know tonight or as soon as possible. We are going to ask you to fill out this yellow paper, even if you did it last year and you're back. Please, we want to make sure all the information is current with any allergies. So ask your child's teacher to get one of these forms. And teachers, you all know where they are, right? Up at the very top mailbox room, up there. But get one of these forms and fill it out. This is important. We need to know how serious the allergy is and what to do if it happens very specifically. Again, if we need to call 911, we need to know that. But if you know what, your child's just going to get a little itchy and then he'll be okay, we want to know that too, so we're not calling 911 if we don't need to. This lets us know that. We do ask on here for a doctor's signature. If anything is really a medical situation, I really wouldn't mind getting your pediatrician's signature on this in some way. If it's just something my child's going to get itchy, it's probably okay not to have that. But anything that involves medical attention, again, we want to make sure that we're handling this in a way that makes everybody happy. So that's this form. Now, some of you, you have dietary preferences for your family. If you have that, for example, your child is a vegetarian. Maybe, but some vegetarians will still they still allow their children to have chicken, those kind of things. Whatever. Would you just let your child's teacher know that? We will compile a list of that as well right away in the school year because we want to honor those wishes if those are your wishes as well. So if that is an issue that your child does not eat certain foods by your choice, now if it's an allergy, please fill one of these out so we know your child accidentally got something, a peanut. But if it's just a preference choice, just let your teacher know and we'll just write it down. We'll make a note of it and have a list just so we don't accidentally do something that doesn't honor your wishes. I'm sorry, you had a question. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Right. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. You may come as early as 7:30. And from 7:30 to 8, that's when you'll go down to the gym. From 8 to 8:20, you may go to the classroom. But yes, you can come as early as 7:30 if you need to. Good. Thank you I want to clarify that. All right, as far as allergies or meds, if there's any question, please see your child's teacher on that. All right, let's change gears here a little bit. Some of you had dinner before you came. Let's talk about snacks for a second. Snacks. You will get a snack calendar from your teacher where you're going to be asked, it's probably even a part of that packet, right, teachers? Your first one, is it part of the packet? On that day, we ask that you bring enough snacks for the entire class. We ask that it's somewhat nutritious, at least. You know, we try to avoid the cookies, the donuts, the solid sugar. That kind of makes it hard on everybody, including the teachers, when the kids get all fired up with that. They usually don't need that extra sugar to be fired up. So let's try to avoid some of those. Bring in some, if you need ideas about that, talk to your child's teacher. They have done this a long time. They can help you with ideas and things they've seen on it. Please remember, if you're bringing something that needs a fork for the children, please bring the forks as well. We don't have a large stash of stuff like that. We have some for an emergency, but if you need things, a spoon, a fork, something like that, throw that all in with it. One change we're going to make for K4, if you're a K4 family, you do not need to bring juice boxes or drink boxes. K3, you're going to still go with what Mrs. Mansfield told you earlier and still going to have that. What we're finding is in K4, so many of the kids are bringing water bottles now that the juice is it's just not being used. The kids would rather drink from their water bottle in the K4 program. So we're going to try that at least to start the year with. We were having times last year where our K4 teachers, they've just had a stack of juice boxes left over because the kids wouldn't take them. So we're going to try this year. You certainly may. If your child is big on them, we're not going to turn them down and we'll give them out to the kids. But for K4, you do not need to bring a juice box this year. Let's talk about birthdays. Your child probably has one. I guess that's one of those basic questions, right? On your child's birthday or on the school day closest to it, If you would like to, you may send in a special snack that your whole child can have. Again, if you can avoid the icing piled this high on top, it's a big help to everybody. But it is a special day for your child, for everyone. We'll sing happy birthday to the child. Bring enough for the entire class. Here's another thing. A lot of the children like to go around to each of the teachers and give them some of their birthday treat as well. And I keep a little treasure box in my office. When children come and bring me that little birthday brownie or birthday cupcake or whatever, I try and give them a special treat on their birthday. So bring a few extra. If your class has 15 in it, maybe send something with 20 or in it or so. Talk to your child's teacher. They can help you more on the specific numbers. But it's a lot of fun for that. One note, I know some schools do this. We've kind of shied away from changing dress code. We still ask you send your child in normal uniform, even on the birthdays. It just is better for everybody in that case. In fact, speaking of dress code, a couple of quick dress code points. Again, first and second grade parents, ignore me on this for a second, but for our kindergarten families, we ask that the boys not wear belts. I know they look handsome in them. But they haven't been, again, not to be but they haven't been using the bathroom on their own very many years yet. That belt adds an extra amount of stress to their lives at an exact moment that they don't want to feel any stress, if you know what I'm saying. So it's just better. Please do not send them with belts on, even though I know they look handsome in them. It's just going to make bathroom time more challenging. They're very little still, so let's help them in that way, not doing that. Elastic waistbands are certainly better in that case. As far as girls, remember, as far as tights under their jumpers, they may wear black, blue, or white are the three colors. They can't wear jeans under them or anything. Just if you would remember that's part of our dress code. And in fact, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but they're going to be plenty warm. It's cold outside. On the really cold days, we're not going outside. They'll be in a nice warm classroom. They really don't have to bundle them up in the classroom. I promise, they're going to get hot in there. If you put them in thick jeans, which are not even dress code anyway, under their jumpers, the girls. So help me with that. And be sure that any layers, we have those cold days in the middle of the winter, just have them in layers that they can take off when they get to the classroom, take off. If they want to wear a solid colored sweater, of course, solid blue sweater, that's fine. We have many of our students who do that. But you don't need to bundle them up that much. I'll talk about going outside in a minute. Please remember, all kindergarten students do need a spare set of clothes, a complete spare set of clothes, including undergarments. We all want to believe that our children are fully potty trained by this point. Here's the problem. Many of them are going into a brand new environment, and even the ones who were here last year, they've been out of it for 2.5 months now. Often, their young bodies at that age, they still have trouble adjusting, and they may have an accident. So really, right from the first, please, even on the first day of school, don't wait on this. Because the first week or two of school is sometimes the most accidents we have all year. As far as potty accidents, send them in. It has to be a uniform. Now, we do have spare uniforms available tonight. There's whatever's available we have. I'll tell you about that at the end. If you just want to use one of our used uniforms, we have that available for you. What we ask is you get one of these 1-gallon Ziploc bags. You know what? If you don't have any of these, our teachers even have them for you.